Hey guys, Stephen Mendes here with a wonderful Roland FA-06. It's so shiny that it even reflects my curtain. I've been wanting to do a video here for the rhythm programming for a long time now, and I want to give you some comprehensive knowledge of this because it's not very well explained in the manual. After you press your rhythm pattern button, you end up with this screen. At the top you see you have rhythm group pop 7, and that gives you 6 different patterns. So the patterns are in groups of 6 different patterns, and you can quickly transition from one pattern to the other by simply pressing the flashing red button below. And if you start on the intro, it will switch to pattern A by itself when the intro has played, and as you reach pattern D and press ending, it will end and stop by itself. So those are mostly useful for live performance. But if you're not using the rhythm in live performance and you're recording into the sequencer, the onboard sequencer, then you can match and mix your patterns to suit yourself. And while it would probably be convenient to group all the patterns that relate to one particular song under a specific group, you are not kept by this limitation. You can in fact use as many different patterns as you want in your recorded song, and we shall show you how in a minute. The thing about it is that there's a synchro start feature that when you press the record button, if you say synchro start, it gives you a start, and when you press that, it will line up your pattern play with the measures inside of your sequencer. Unfortunately, there is no synchro stop. So the safest way to make sure you get the entire pattern when you want to change patterns, if they're not side by side, is to let it go past to the first beat of the next pattern, and then press the stop, and you'll make sure to get the last beat of the measure. And then you can quickly go and delete that measure, and then record any other pattern so the patterns play back to back. We're going to do that in a second and show you how. Simply press your sequencer button and you've got this screen. Now all these little horizontal lines in here show that there's a song. That's the onboard song Pythagoras. That comes as song 1, that loads every time you turn on the keyboard, unless you decide to change it with the settings. But for what we need to do now, we just want to reset it so that we're starting with a clean slate. So you just hold down the shift button, and you will see that it says song util there, and you press on the red button there for the song util, and it goes there, and we select clear song clear, and we press that, and it just asks us if we really want to do that, and we press OK, and the song has been cleared. So now the red marker is at the first measure, and as you can see, the song is gone, and up at the top it says 001 init song. So we've initialized the song. Now when the song initializes, it sets the tempo to 120, but you can probably change that if you want. And right up there under init song, you have your measure, beat and tick, along with the 4/4 timing and the speed, the tempo that you're going to play. Now you may or may not want to change those things, but for right now we're not interested in changing all of that. We're just interested in getting some rhythm patterns into track 10, which is the one that's used there for the drumming. And we're going to do that now by switching back to our patterns, rhythm patterns, by pressing the appropriate button. And we're not going to even bother with the intro here. We're going to go straight to the verse 1. So we're going to press the pattern A, because we just want, there it plays. Okay, so we stop it. That's what we're going to record. We're going to record a few bars of that one, and then we're going to select a completely unrelated pattern from another pattern group. And the reason why we want to do that is we want to show you how easy it is to line up your patterns and get them all functioning in the sequencer. And that's really what you want to do, because as you play your songs, you don't want to be limited by any of this foolishness. You want to create your own original fills. Hopefully you do. And you want to create as many patterns as you could possibly have to make it sound like genuine drummer. Okay? So how do you record that? Well, you simply press the record button on the FA-06 and up pops this thing. We have to turn off loop mode in this particular case. There are other times you might want to have loop mode on, but for right now we're turning off loop mode because we're going to be just recording what we want, and we're not going to quantize anything because it's all already there in the pattern. So we come down here and we want to turn on the synchro start, but we want to turn off that annoying click. So we press under the click button, and as a matter of fact, we might even want to have no lead in, no count in at all. So let's turn off that measure thing. And so everything's off now and the synchro start is on. And we press this yellow start button to start recording. Now when we press this yellow start button, it's going to immediately start recording our pattern A directly into the sequencer, as you can see. And we're going to let it play for a couple of bars and then press the stop button. Now it's a 2-bar pattern, so go past the 8th bar and press stop. So at this point we have options. We can either press shift and select undo, which will do the whole thing over again, or we can simply take out those last 2 measures. Okay? So if we wanted to take out those last 2 measures, measures 7 and 8, we would press shift and track modify. And we would come down here to erase, and we would select that, and then we would change the track number to 10, which is our rhythm track. And we would change the measure from 7 to the end, because that's the end of our thing, and we just press execute and say OK. And what we should have got now is a perfect section there. We've just taken out the last 2 measures, so it plays great to 6. Of course, since we went to 8, it goes to 8 and stops there. But that doesn't matter, except that when we want to add our next pattern, we want to carry it back to the end of the first pattern. So we want to actually start the recording of our next pattern at the beginning of 7, right? So we just simply go back to the rhythm pattern. And now we're going to select a completely unrelated group. Although we probably should still do it in the rock category. No, let's go to the end and do it in the other, because they got some pretty cool patterns there in other. I'll show you. In other one here, we've got a good one here we can add. And that's also actually, that's a 4-bar pattern, because you can see from as we're looking up here at the top, that's a 4-bar pattern in all. So we're going to have to go in groups of 4s if we want that to play twice, or we can let it play 3 times or how many other times we want, depending on what music we're putting together and how long our verse and chorus is. But we're just going to take 4 bars of that and then change the pattern again. So once it's highlighted with that highlight rectangle, all we have to do now again is call up our record. And when we do, we have to turn off the annoying click each time. But notice that all our settings have remained except for the one that has to do with synchro start. So the only two things that we have to do when we use the screen are to take out the synchro start and to just switch it so that it lines up. We turn it to on, so that's auto start, so that when we press the start button, it will record that pattern that's highlighted from measure 7. So we go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and stop. Okay? 7, 8, 9, 10, and we stopped it at 11, or maybe we went past, so we may have a little more deleting to do. I'm not sure, but you will have to get your act together. You have two ways of getting it under control. You can either slow down your tempo so slow that you can stop it on the exact beat that you want, or you can just go past it a little bit and work this delete all the time. But in reality, it may not be such a problem, because if you group your patterns in the order in which you want without having to stop the sequencer, you can actually watch up here in the top and press your next pattern button and record a couple of patterns in quick succession if you want to do that. But when we go back to our sequencer now, it's stopped at the beginning of measure 7. Now we said we had to have 4 bars of that, so let's hear it. Alright, so the last one has to be deleted. Okay, so we simply then go back. So it's measure 11 that we want to delete, and quick as a bunny, we press shift, trap, modify, erase. Unfortunately, it doesn't remember the last track we used, but we have to then set this to from 11 to the end, basically. Execute that, and we should be good to go. Now there's the rewind to the start of the song, and we will show you that the two rhythms come back to back. See, so you got perfect synchronization there with your rhythms. Alright, we've renamed it to Experiment, and we press OK here, that yellow OK. And see, now we've got not 1 experiment going to not 9 init song, and we press save. So you have to watch the numbers, don't be confused, watch the numbers. That experiment is now going to song 9, and it will change init to experiment. So we press the save button, and it says are you sure, and we say okay, and we're saving the song, and the song has been saved, and we're done. Now we want to show you when we go to song select what's on the agenda. Okay, notice that our Pythagoras is still there. Our not 1 Pythagoras is there. Then we come to the black eyes. Then we come to the chasm and the final answer. And these were what came with the system. And then these other ones are what I added myself in my experimentation. And 9, which is the next available initialization, has been called experiment. So those other hymns and different things are my various experimentations on this particular flashcard. If you stick in another flashcard and initialize it, it won't have any songs at all till you put in something. So keep a lot of flashcards around and you're good to go.